No car seller would love to see this video, because in this video I take time to detail 5 key main points that you need to do or you need to check before actually purchasing a car. Whether you are purchasing a thermic vehicle, a vehicle that uses fuel, or an electric vehicle, these 5 key main points are very crucial for you to check or for you to do analysis before actually purchasing these vehicles. Now you may be asking, who am I to actually give you these 5 key main features? You know, I have been in the automobile field for quite a time now, for more than a year now, and I've seen so many people run into these mistakes. So that's why I take time to give you these 5 key main points for you not to fall into the same. Stay tuned to the end of this video, because by the end of this video you will know this fifth point, that fifth point that most of these car sellers don't want you to see, but I will be revealing it in this video. The information gotten from this video will not be gotten from anywhere else on the internet. Welcome to this channel. In this channel we talk about cars, the automobile sector, and electric vehicles as a whole. So if you're interested in this content, kindly give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our featured content. Let's get into it. So the first thing you need to check before actually purchasing a vehicle is checking the background history. And when I say the background history, what do I mean? The first thing is about the mileage. You know, the mileage is directly proportional to the amount of kilometers the car has run. So knowing the mileage of the vehicle is like knowing how used the vehicle has been. You see, but you need to be very careful, because most of these car sellers or most of these car dealers, what they do is that they even sometimes trick these values. You may see the value, the mileage of the vehicle, sometimes its initial value reading maybe 240,000 kilometers, but most of these car sellers actually trick this value. So you need to be very prudent while checking this, and I will advise you to always take someone who is versed, an electrician or a trusted mechanic, to help you do that job. The next background history that you actually need to check before actually purchasing any vehicle, whether it's a thermic or an electric vehicle, is actually if the car has undergone any accident. You know, most of the times when cars undergo accidents on the roadside or anywhere, most people that do the repairs actually do repairs to resell them. And we all know that when somebody does something to resell, he does actually put all his heart into it. So most of the time, important parts such as the engine, such as some other parts on the vehicle, are actually damaged. And this, if you aren't actually very versed about cars or the automobile sector, you might not actually know what the car has. So as another advice, I would advise you to always bring someone who is versed about vehicles and know if the car has undergone an accident or not. The next thing is to know the number of past users. Yes, the number of individuals that previously used the vehicle. This is very crucial and very, very important, because let me take a scenario. Let's take a scenario whereby you have a medical doctor, for example, who used a vehicle for 3 years. And you know, for a medical doctor, he maybe drives just from his house to his hospital and maybe does some around the town, as compared to, let's say, a vehicle that was used just for a year, but within the time had 5 different users. Maybe had 2 taxi drivers, 1 Uber driver, and 1 Clando driver. You understand? So even if this vehicle used by these 5 different users just for a period of 1 year, this vehicle will actually be worse than the one used by this medical doctor for 3 years. It's actually quite important to know the number of users and the quality of users too, who used the vehicles in the past, who used the vehicle you want to buy in the past, before actually running into it, because it will save you from so many problems. The next thing you need to check actually before purchasing a vehicle, the second point out of these 5 points that you need to check before actually purchasing a vehicle, is the state of the battery. Yes, you know, the battery of a vehicle is like its heart. It's like what actually propels the vehicle, causes the vehicle to move. So this is a very important and crucial part of the vehicle to check. Taking into consideration that you are using a thermic vehicle, a vehicle that uses fuel, checking the battery is actually very crucial and very important, because it's actually the part of the vehicle that functions as the heart. Let's even take in context of electric vehicles. You know, depending on the type 2 of battery in the electric vehicle, whether it's a lithium ion battery or a nickel metal hydride battery or a solid state battery, by the way, click this video here and you'll see everything about it. Checking the state of the battery is actually very important, because in electric vehicles, the battery is actually what actually functions as the heart. Actually, what propels the vehicle is what gives energy to the motor to help propel the wheels. So checking the state of the battery is actually very crucial. The next point that you need to check, this third point that you need to check, is actually something that is very neglected, and most of the time so many of us don't talk about it. It is one of the points that when you go buy, purchase a vehicle, it might even lose your mind if you don't take good precautions before actually purchasing the vehicle. And this third thing that you need actually to check is the tires. Yes, the tires of the vehicle. I know this might sound so very surprising, but checking the tires of the vehicle before purchasing it is something that I have noticed that so many car buyers and even car sellers don't actually pay attention. You know, the tires of a vehicle, without it, the vehicle can go nowhere. Most of us actually take so much time checking maybe the paint, checking the engine, checking the leather seats and all the rest. Yes, this is important, but the tires also is a very important point of the vehicle to actually check. I will give you some techniques to actually check the tire. The first technique I will be giving you is about checking the cracks, the different cracks on the tires, and doing what we mostly call the coin test. The coin test simply implies using like a coin, a simple coin, and inserting it into each of the cracks. And if this coin is actually oversealed on the outside, meaning this tire is not actually in good state. The next thing you can do also to check the state of your tires is by applying some weight on each side of the vehicle. So the four corners of the vehicle, you apply some weight. And if these tires actually bounces more than one, means the shock absorber of the car or of the tires are actually very weak, and this may give you a red flag telling you that these tires are no more in good state. So on each side of the vehicle, you just apply some weight, and if it bounces more than once, meaning the shock absorber of this vehicle is questionable and you need to take precautions. One of the best advices I will give you is to always visit the dealership or where you want to purchase your vehicle with someone which is well versed about cars, in order for you to actually not run into all these troubles. The fourth thing that you need to check, which is actually one of the most indispensable things before you need to purchase a vehicle, is actually checking the state of the engine. And in parallel to this, I will also tell you to check beneath the vehicle and the electrical parts of the vehicle. So the engine of a vehicle, especially in the thermal vehicles who use fuel, is actually like the brain of the vehicle. Take for example, a car without an engine, a thermic car without an engine. It doesn't actually make sense, because this is the part of the vehicle that actually functions as what propels the vehicle, what gives energy to the vehicle. And not checking this is actually a big mistake. Some of the techniques you can use to check the state of the engine is by actually starting the vehicle. When the vehicle is started, you will take some time to listen to the sound of the vehicle. If you hear some cracks or some crack sound, this is a red flag that you need to take into consideration. The next thing is also checking the color of coming out from the exhaust pipe behind, because you know, as combustion process goes through, if the combustion of the engine is not so good, it will directly indicate at the exhaust. You will see some signs as such as black flames and all the rest. meaning the engine is also questionable. But one of the most important things that you need to take note of is that most of the time, before you come to the dealership to actually conclude the deal with the person selling you the car, what most of them do is that they add engine thickening oil. And this engine thickening oil they add is actually there to actually hide some defects of this engine, which is one of the tricks that they use. As I said, no car seller will actually love to see this video because I hide so many things that they don't tell you in this video. So they add this engine thickening oil to be able to actually hide some of the defects that this engine has. You see, and you need to be so very careful because they mostly do that when you come for the test drive. Even in the case of hybrid vehicles that use both fuel and electricity, most of these scenarios do happen. So you need to take precautions to actually make sure that the engine is in good state. Make sure even the dashboard signs, and if you use modern vehicles, you can use like more modern ways to actually check the state of the engine, how the engine functions, whether it's in good health or not. The fifth thing, and one of the most important, as I earlier mentioned in this video, one of the things that most of these car sellers don't want you to know and don't want you even to check before actually purchasing the vehicle is the paperwork of the vehicle. Yes, what documents does the vehicle have? In fact, whenever you see a vehicle that is out for sale and you're interested in actually wanting to purchase this vehicle, the first thing before any other discussion that you have to ask to the person selling you the vehicle is about first its paperwork. Nothing else. The first thing you need to ask is about its paperwork. Paperwork such as the papier de chassis, as they call in French, the chassis document, if it has the taxation documents, if it has already, in case you are buying an already used vehicle, and the other documents, the vignette, as they call it in French. So you need to ask all these different documents because they are very crucial and very important. Because right now, as I'm telling you, these problems of paperwork actually brought a close member of mine in my dealership in prison, and right now he's in prison just because of this paperwork. So this is what happened before he went into prison. So what happened is that in our dealership, he managed one day to sell a vehicle. It was a Yaris 2005 model, a directly imported car from Europe. And the first person that actually purchased the car was a government official, a government official. He purchased the vehicle. And out of a sudden, 2 to 3 days after, this vehicle was actually stolen. This vehicle was stolen by unknown individuals. And what happened is that these individual that purchased the vehicle actually came back to our dealership, accusing this my colleague of being the one who actually made the scenario for the car to be stolen. And all this because they were not traceable documents that were actually signed to show that this car has been sold and we have nothing to do with anything that happens with it after. So what I will advise you is that whenever the vehicle is purchased or whenever you have sold the vehicle, the first thing that you need to do is actually going to a police office nearby and signing the necessary documents showing that the vehicle has had a good transaction and has been sold and everything has been done in all clean and transparency. So this is actually very crucial and very important because not only for this my colleague, it has happened also to so many other people. So many people maybe who purchase cars that have been stolen. And let's take a scenario whereby the person who stole this vehicle actually sells it to someone else. Selling this vehicle now to someone else, maybe this person might not be very vigilant also to check the documents, and he might not know that the vehicle has even been stolen. And what if another trouble happens in such a way that the person buying the vehicle is caught now and he is instead the one now into trouble just because these documents issue have not been handled in this video? And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe and turn on the notification bell not to miss any of our future videos. Click this video here to know the different types of electric vehicles battery that exist. Meet you on the next.